you've probably underrepresented how hard it is to keep your head in going through everything that happened on the day, and you did a really, really good job to stay
Thank you.
in. Like
it's very not Jess-like.
Yeah.
Mature Jess.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where I was like, okay. So the way that it was set up is like lifters had to exit like stage left, and then you walked out with them stage right. So you had to go around this massive like fucking canvas curtain. And there was a couple of times I walked around that corner just like, okay, what are we walking into here? Like what kind of Jess is going to walk around that corner in 2 seconds? Yeah. And how are we going to deal with that? But every time you were calm, it was really cool to approach, see you just go, it is what it is. What do we need to change? How do we fix it? And nationals would be really fun. I think too, like, just looking overall at powerlifting, the trap that you can get into, and I wonder, having the prep that you did, you're like, I'm just going to try it all and see where I land.
Yeah.
Versus, I have to total this. I have to squat this. If I miss a lift, I'm a fucking piece of shit human. It's my whole identity, all of that kind of stuff. That's when meets like fucking fall apart.
Yeah.
That was entirely what we worked on through this prep, and like we're conscious of. At the end of the day, like, yes, I did this to attempt to qualify for nationals. It's not something you can take for granted. It's not something that you can just assume you're going to get invited to. It's, it's a big feat and it's a huge achievement. So like never lost sight of that. But I just wanted to enjoy it. And like what you said, be process driven, tick every box. I stopped training early in the morning and started training in the afternoon so that I would be, better fed, and did all the things that I could to put myself in the best position on the day. And at the end of the day, that's where we ended up. And now at this next comp, like at nationals, cool. Like it might be exciting to change totals if you're fighting for a podium and things like that. But the whole goal is, 1, don't bomb. 2, just do better than I did at my last comp and get a total PB. Yeah. Do what I'm capable of and be able to express that within the walls of the powerlifting rules. Yeah. And that's all I want.
And the situation of the day.
Correct. Yeah. Like, so that's all I want to do. And I just have to do the same thing again for this prep. Yeah. Tick all the boxes. We're going to approach it a little bit differently now that you know what I'm like in a peak. And that's it.
I just think the process thing is like so important for like any athlete. It's like it'd be the same for bodybuilders. It's like, you can only do what you can do. And then at the end of the day, like that outcome is largely, well, I mean, it's like within your control, but there's a lot that is not 100%
really,
in your, it's not within your control.
Who cares if like, because like there was a girl that squatted a national record on her all 3 attempts.
Yeah, so you can't do anything about that. And like people get depressed after any sort of competition when they're like, it's all outcome. Yeah. But like even for like a bodybuilder, it's like if you get on the stage and you've done every cardio session, you've lifted every single weight, you've like nailed your meal plan, whatever, you can still go home happy even if the person next to you wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the culture we have in our powerlifting team, because I know Jess approaches it the same with your lifters, is that. It's like I won't lie, I expected to get 5 national invites yesterday, and we got hopefully 1.
Well, we did get 1.
We did get
one.
Just to the wrong event. But I brought up last year's nationals just to show the girls, and I was like, if you totaled over 300 last year, you were a walk-in pretty much up till the open weight class in the girls. This year, it's like 340, 350 just to fucking get a look in. And like, I think it was the 67s. You needed 340 to be 20th.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was like the standard just exploded.
It's huge in 12 months.
You can't.
Yeah, it's like a 20%, 15% increase in 12 months. There's a lot of new people who've moved to the Fed.
I was going to say,
you're looking at a 400, like, you're looking, I mean, for powerlifting people, like, you're looking at a 400 dots for most weight classes.
Yeah, to be competitive, which is
that elite.
Last year was like, that's podium. This year it's you qualify.
This is
congratulations.
The standard to get in.
Yeah. So it was like, most of my girls were like, cool. Like, the nationals was never really the goal. It was just, how do I get in?
The best they could anyway.
Exactly, and it's like, I tell the story all the time. Like, my last meet, I was like, I'm finally going to get a podium, because I knew everyone that was competing. I'm like, it's going to finally happen. And then like 10 days out, Anthony Krusner entered and totaled like fucking 950.
And got told not to try.
Yeah. And then another kid I think did he deadlift 6 times body weight?
It was something fucking stupid.
Yeah, it was like
it.
close to 400 kilos, and he was like 80 kilos or something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. There's my podium gone. Like, I'm 5th. Awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't control
that. Yeah.
who else is going to show up on the day, what everyone else in the entire country is going to do to qualify for nationals, what the judges are going to be like on the day, what the bar is. Like, you can't control any of that stuff. All you can do is, like you said, process driven. Did I do better than last time? Did I tick all the boxes? Am I happy with what I've done? And I think, at least my involvement in the sport of powerlifting has been teaching lots of people that.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about people that move away from... So a big thing that I used to push earlier on was like, if you, and because this was my experience, if fixating on how you look is negatively impacting your life, performance goals are fucking incredible. Because it's like, the bar is the bar.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what mood you're in, doesn't matter how you feel, how much salt you've had. It's just like, the bar is the fucking bar. It either goes up or it doesn't.
Did you lift it?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not sad in the morning because of what I saw in the mirror.
It's objective.
The weight goes up or it doesn't. So that in general starts to like push you in a direction of, well, I can control this outcome and this is what's progress. The trap then for some people is like starting to compare yourself to other people, but we don't have that in the culture within STC with the powerlifting crew, which is good.
Yeah.
Not in a healthy way.
No.
Not enough.
no,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's when it comes, right?
You
So
look at you got like
so we had one of our girls in Sydney, shout out to M. 3rd deadlift was like probably in the back of my mind, I'm like, this has to be fucking perfect for you to get this. It has to be perfect. But if we don't go for this number, so basically the way it would work is if she hit her 3rd,
she puts
the
pressure.
person who was leading had to hit their 3rd or they lost.
Yeah.
So it was like, we have to.
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, it's individual. Okay, now for this next 60 seconds, we're actually in a head-to-head competition-based environment, and you have to do it. And I reckon I've done that 3 times in comps, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
One of my kids lose by 200 grams body weight.
Body weight, yeah.
At nationals for first place. I was gutted.
Well, the thing is, like, I think when you're talking to people about, especially like high achievers, when you're like, oh, be process driven, they're like, but I want to win. It's not about letting go of the outcome goal. Like, you can still want to win.
Absolutely.
It just can't be the only thing that you find valuable.
Yeah.
Because you might not.
You need to accept that there's variables about winning that you can't control.
Correct. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, this is like definitely letting everyone into my brain. At the end, the only thing that made me feel better, like immediately afterwards, before I got asked to be drug tested, before I knew I came 2nd overall, the thing that made me feel better is like my dots. So like that's like the power to weight ratio that gets standardized across the board, which is what determined me coming 2nd. And then it was like, cool. The heaviest squat on the day was like 180 something for the girls.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck, that is insane. And that was like a 2.2 times body weight squat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. We opened it at 2.05 times body weight squat. So I'm like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, like I need to be like, cool, I'm so proud of myself. So that's where the comparison for me as somebody that is, dare I say, strong. Like I got invited to nationals, so I'm allowed to say I'm strong.
You can say that.
Like I was like, cool, I did compare and I was like, great. Just you're all right at this. Fucking stick it out, pull your head out of your ass, do better next time.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of just where I left it. I was like, well, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. I can't fucking change it. Can't change a bench. Can't change my 2nd squat. Can't change my autoimmune disease. Can't change that. But like this next prep, we'll change what we can.
Yeah.
And just like
well, that's the thing.
go
like
more than 4 for 9.
In any sport, it's like you can't be like, oh, don't get pulled into the self-comparison trap. Because it's like if you are Gen Pop and you're not competing in a sport, then sure, there's really no use in like comparing yourself to anybody else. But if you are competing in a sport, it's nice to know where the best person in the world is or best person in the country is. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
As long as you can do it in a way that is not not self-harm.
I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Correct.
But
I think the challenge it's the same in physique sports, with strength and physique sport. It's so genetically affected. So it's like there are people that I've put under a barbell and just gone, what?
Yeah.
You are different.
Yeah.
And then there's people that I've seen dot every I, cross every T, do everything right, and still would never get anywhere close to that person that doesn't even try.
Yeah.
It's just like that's, I think, inside, because at the end of the day, no one's a professional powerlifter.
No.
Yeah.
Like
It's literally for fun.
You can use it to like create a name and a brand and sell coaching.
Yeah.
And like it's a lot of physique sport as well.
Yeah.
But it's like no one's really pro at that. There's not sponsors lining up to fund your life. So you've also just got to think like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And it's all like,
see what you're capable of.
Yeah, like even like when I look at Jess's numbers, for example, like number 2 in the country, which I didn't know till just now. But there's no, in my head, I don't even go like, oh, fuck, Jess is going to total like 360. This is good. I don't even think about it. It's just like, Jess has bench pressed 75 kilos before. She needs to bench press more than 75 kilos. And that's successful.
Yeah.
And then if I look at my other girls and I'm like, she's bench pressed 35 kilos before. If we bench 40 kilos,
progress is
fucking
success.
win.
Yeah.
What happens around all of that, we have absolutely no control over until you get there on the day and you're like, oh, actually, we're 3rd in the category right now, or 2nd or 1st. Let's play the little game at the end and see how we go.
Yeah.
Love it.
Your bodybuilding podcast is now a powerlifting podcast.
Can you notice how I've said nothing?
We've got one in. Got one in now.
Can we wrap up this torture? Like,
yeah.
about my bodybuilding podcast has just been tainted.
We've got 18 seconds to finish anyway.